Hi, everyone. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you're joining me live, this is completely impromptu. I've had a lot of thoughts about this over the past few days, and I felt I needed to speak out on it. I think whether or not you're a dog professional or a dog enthusiast, you are probably seeing on your social media feeds an overwhelming number of uh, dogs that have been surrendered where it is, this boy or this girl needs help. It is, on a euthanasia list. It'll be euthanized by tomorrow or by Monday, or unless someone can pull it from the shelter. And a lot of the rescues are so overrun, they don't have even fosters available right now to pull a lot of these dogs. So obviously for me, seeing these in my feed is very heartbreaking, very upsetting to me. My first response and my consistent response is to tear up, get sick to my stomach, wish that there was something more that I could do. But then I was driving yesterday, and as I was thinking all this, I actually got angry. Different than sad about it, different than upset, different set of feelings, and it's anger. I'm really ticked off. My butt is chapped over this, because there are so many options, and there are reasons that this is going on, and there are so many other options that we as humans and we as a society, and then we as professionals in the pet care industry could work to handle this differently. And let me just back up a little bit so that you understand, if you don't know me, so that you understand where I'm coming from and what has shaped me in my walk with dogs. So, I have been training dogs professionally for close to 20 years. Before that, I actually spent a few years helping other people with their dogs before I even took a penny professionally. And prior to that, I had been teaching most of my entire life from the time I was 16 on. I am 53, by the way. So I have done a lot with regards to learning theory and teaching. And then to even add to that, I trained my first dog when I was 16. Now, we always had dogs in our home. We always had German Shepherds, and my mom was not a breeder. She just loved dogs. She was not like a show person, let's go show our dogs. She just loved dogs, and she loved German Shepherds, and that's what we tended to have in our home. So my earliest memories, basically from the time I could before I could walk, we had a German Shepherd in the house. And then when I was 16, I trained my first one completely on my own. And it wasn't just so, you can get a thought about that too. Well, oh, cute, she went to 4-H club, or she did this, or she did that. No, actually, I had a set of, I think it was maybe 8 sessions with a trainer that the breeder that we had gotten the puppy from had recommended. And my mom was I was a violinist, and my mom was very, very, very protective of my future as a violinist musician and being able to go off to school. So anything that I got like really super excited about, I got redirected to the violin. So I really, really enjoyed training this puppy, and made the mistake of mentioning to my mom, maybe I want to be a trainer. And she let me finish that set of lessons, but then she didn't let me continue. And I don't fault her for that. She did the best that she could trying to protect me. But what I will say about that, just so that you understand, is I continued to be with this puppy as he grew. I took him out. I watched him. I socialized him. We didn't have the internet back then, right? So, I mean, this is going back into like the, mid to late 80s. So I really just had to sit back, and that dog was a great teacher for me. I had gotten to the point of where I had him completely off leash trained, at a distance, 50 plus feet. hand signal trained, and with full on distractions. Like I would spend, a couple hours a day with this dog as I got, as he got older and had him more and more proficient at things we did. Like I would go to like a shopping center or a little strip mall, and I was basically doing urban agility before it was ever a thing. So, and this dog actually had started out, he was a very nervous puppy, like the genetics on this particular, line of German Shepherds was not, to the temperament was not necessarily great. But I had, through the work that I had done with him, he was stable enough to go and do all of these things. So again, when I say I trained my first dog at 16, it wasn't like this, oh, ha, 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 cute, she did 4-H. Like I had this dog under a very exceptional level of control. And without a lot of guidance, right? I had to figure a lot of things out. So without the help of internet and YouTube videos. So not to beat my own drum, but that is, how far back my history goes with dogs. And also I think the thing to think about with that is that I loved this dog so much. I loved dogs so much that I stepped outside of who I was to figure out the best ways to communicate with this dog, right? And so let's take that forward now. So, as I look at the current situation with what is going on with dogs being surrendered, with the shelters being overrun, with the rescues being overtaxed, anyone can do the research. I've done some research on it, and I've done research over the years. And depending on what study you're reading, between 70 to 96% of dogs that are surrendered have never received any training. None. But let's take that and put that in a box for a moment, okay? The other thing is, as you do some research, you will find, as I found, top reasons that dogs are surrendered. Basically four can consistently come up: time, money, life changes, like moving or having a baby, and then behavior issues, right? And so when you look at those reasons, and then you look at how many dogs are surrendered and the percentage, and we're talking big numbers of dogs, we're talking a few million at least a year are being surrendered. When you're looking at that, and you're looking at between 70 to 96% never receiving training, you got to sit back and scratch your head. At least I did. Right? Like that's a tough one. So, we as a society need to do better. So, we can break this down. People in general have to do better. All of us, whether you're a pet home, pet parent, dog, you're not a pet parent, you're not all fuzzy and happy about like woohoo, foofy about it. You're a dog owner and you just got a dog because there's all, spectrum of being a pet owner through being a pet parent. I get that. You have to be as passionate about it as I am. Breeders, rescues, veterinarians, the training industry as a whole. None of us are off the hook. None of us are off the hook. There's a lot of ego, there's a lot of ignorance, and there's a lot of greed. And let's kick this back a little bit, okay? So when I say people can do better, if you are a average person, any average person thinking about getting a dog, more people need to do the research and understand that a dog is a commitment. It's a time commitment, yes. When you bring an animal into your home, right? And we're going to focus on, we're bringing a dog into our home. I don't care what age it is. It needs to learn about what your world is and what its place is in your world, what's acceptable, what isn't. So that, guess what? It doesn't end up back at rescue. Or if you got it from a breeder, it doesn't end up back in rescue. Okay, so if you are someone that is thinking about having a dog, and I'm getting this message to you before you've done that, or if you've had a dog and are on the verge of failing that dog because of time, dig down and find the time. I've been a small business owner my whole life. I work between 60 and 80 hours a week, and I've always pushed to make time for my dogs. So you can make the time. We're not talking about hours a day. We're talking a walk, a little exercise, and then making sure that within your life with the dog that you're having teachable moments. And I think that's the thing that that really is at issue here. It's not necessarily that it's a big time issue, it's an effort issue with the time we have, and we're just lazy humans, point blank. So I'm not buying the time thing. The money thing, I understand that we're in a crunch right now. The economy is not good. And I totally get that. People are hurting, but there is help. Uh, there are low cost options for veterinary care. There are lower cost options for training. And when we get towards the end of this, in among the list of solutions I have, we'll see that that is there. But again, to just say money blanketly, anyone that brings a dog into their home needs to be educated about and do the research about, yes, there is an expense to this, right? Like, I don't always get the haircut I need or want, like my hair, thank heavens, my hairdresser is amazing. My hair hasn't been done and I have a short haircut and I'm, 53 years old, so I got gray in the roots. But I haven't done my hair, I haven't had my hair done in 12 weeks. It should be getting done every 6, right? Because financially I put, taking care of my dogs ahead of that. There are plenty of things that I put on the back burner. And I'm not talking about life or death things. Like, yes, I make sure I have my medical needs met and food, essential food for living met, right? But, I can do without that extra Starbucks so that my dog can have the veterinary care that they need, or if I weren't a trainer, the training that they need. So it's all, I think, about priorities when we're talking about money. Let's talk about life changes, moving and babies, okay? First of all, the whole moving thing, again, I'm not buying it. I was essentially I had gone through a divorce way many years ago. And I had a lovely dog. My first competition working line German Shepherd. And I didn't have a place to live. Like, I had bopped around, I think in 18 months, Penny, that was her name, Penny, and I had 5 different living situations because I was continuously looking for places where she could be. And in the early phases of that, I would take like the most basic thing I could get. So like one of the first places that came through with for us was a basement apartment on a farm. And guess what? Yeah, I grabbed it. It was not optimum. I had to go upstairs to use the bathroom. I didn't have a kitchen. I had to have like a hot plate downstairs. I didn't have TV. Let's see, what else can I tell you about it? Actually, that's where I found out I have a very bad reaction to mold. I started getting sick. And luckily I was looking for the next place to live, right? But my point in this is I could have afforded and done something differently. But in the area I was living, the apartments that I could, that were nicer that I could afford from that perspective didn't allow dogs. And I didn't have a lot of time to figure it out. And I didn't have time to buy a townhome home yet. So, and I'll say this too, and this is why I'm not buying the whole moving thing. There were a couple weeks in there before I even found that first apartment where I literally, I'm being very vulnerable here. I lived in my van with my dog. Because if she couldn't be there, I could not be there. That was it. It's simple. That was the commitment that I made. So I've walked the walk, I've talked the talk. If you have to move, you make it work. You brought that dog in your life, you make it work. Period. And I know that people are gonna be upset with me about that. And the baby thing, right? Again, the statistics that I'm reading where they mention life changes, have baby coming in, I can tell you from practical experience that oftentimes, and there are exceptional individuals, but oftentimes people know they have a problem with their dog, but they don't seek help until like the mother to be is 7.5, 8 months pregnant, or until after they've had the baby. Like they were hoping things would work out, but wow, our dog really has these issues and now we've got to deal with it. And now we have the baby. Well, doggone it. If you'd have dealt with it a year ago, you wouldn't be having this problem. So again, I'm not buying the whole baby thing. It's an excuse. It's not a reason. And again, I'm gonna have people angry at me for saying that. Okay, well, that's fine. And I'm not saying that there aren't exceptions. I'm not saying that if you happen to have had a predatory dog, a one in, 1,000 dogs that really shouldn't be with a child and be a danger to a child, and you knew that and you did management and blah blah blah, and then you're pregnant and deciding that you're having this baby, and yeah, then that dog, that's an outlier, but that's not the percentage of dogs that the reason at surrender is we're having a baby. And I've seen that, right? So I'm not gonna, there are exceptions, but and even in the moving, yes, there are people that don't have a choice, they have to go overseas for a job. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about where moving is an excuse and not a reason. All right. And then the behavior issues. Point blank again, seek out training when you bring a puppy or a dog into your home. Period. Whether you think you're going to need it or not, seek it out and do it. If you've never owned a dog before, or if this puppy or dog is different than anything you've brought in before, get help right away. It will save you money in the long run. You will have a better chance at everything being successful, and you'll be able to keep that puppy or dog in your home. Good training is never going to hurt anything, right? So don't wait until you've developed a problem. Get the help first. And this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about rescues, shelters, and breeders. Okay, rescues and shelters. If you have a high return rate and you are not requiring training of dogs that are being adopted from you, shame on you. Period. If you have a high return rate and you're not requiring training, shame on you. Because every time a dog you adopt out, if you're feeling good because, oh, we got these dogs adopted out, and you've got this revolving door, and then they come back, and then you get them out again and they come back, that's not doing anyone any good, and it's certainly not doing that dog any good. Right. And I get that maybe there are a number of people in rescue, their hearts are in the right place. Well, they're afraid to require training because then people will adopt from a different rescue. Well, this is where, again, we as a society and we as people need to step up, and we need to be brave, because maybe it would hurt you in the early stages of this, but if you were consistent and you really made that positive instead of this thing that you have to ask someone to do. And then you could start to say, look, we are this rescue that has a 1% return rate. Wouldn't that be an amazing selling point for your rescue to be able to adopt dogs out? Right. So require training, require it, and know the trainers that you're sending people to. And I'm not going to get into this whole discussion about positive only and all of that, but just as a side note, there are plenty of rescues that are open to working with balance trainers, and those are the trainers that are going to help those dogs that are coming through rescue. It's not only positive only trainers. We can have a whole other discussion about that, but I do think, and when I talk about industry, I think that I'll dive into a little bit more of that. But definitely rescues, shelters, you need to be requiring, not suggesting, not recommending, requiring. And I have a solution for that at the end of this. Okay, requiring training. Breeders, same thing. Okay, require training, require it. Recommend specific trainers. Follow up. vet those homes. I cannot tell you in my 20 years as a dog trainer, a professional dog trainer, almost 20 years, the times that I have just gone into my office and basically, barely made it there before face palming because a breeder somewhere placed a dog, a Rottweiler that should have been never, ever, ever in anything but an experienced sport home or someone extremely experienced with working breed Rottweilers, and that dog is in a pet home. And not only that, a pet home that never owned a dog before. That's not okay. That's not a breeder that is doing their homework. And again, there are some wonderful breeders out there, and to you, my hat's off. I would not want to do what you do. I would have a nervous breakdown worrying and wondering about where my puppies are going. But for those that are not doing the A1 job, turn it around, start doing a better job. Vet those homes, place the right puppies in the right homes. Don't send a puppy to a home that that home is not going to be able to handle, and require training. Know the trainers know the trainers that you are recommending. Period. Okay. So that's my thing about breeders, right? If you're breeding and you're in a place where you can't be concerned about where your puppies are going, then you are breeding for the wrong reasons. Period. Okay. So veterinarians, the vet offices, guys, I have some friends that are vets, and I am very grateful that I know some wonderful vets that help treat my dogs. Okay. But just like veterinarians don't like it when if a veterinarian would not like it if I told a client how to treat their dog's giardia or how to treat their dog's pneumonia or whatever it is, right? I don't, as a trainer, an experienced trainer, appreciate it when a vet is trying to tell a client that a particular tool or suggestion I've made is not appropriate. Okay, that's not okay. So veterinarians, you need to stay in your lane. You do need to get to know more trainers, and you do need to refer out to trainers. And anyone that comes in with a puppy, you need to refer. One of the questions in a first puppy visit should be, who's your trainer? And if they don't have one, you need to be able to give them a packet of a couple of trainers that you recommend. Period. That's what veterinarians can do. It doesn't take a lot of extra time. Right? But please stay in your lane, and we'll stay in ours. Okay. And again, I know I'm going to have some people very upset with me for saying these things, but we need to realize what it is we do well and what it is we don't do well. Okay. There's not a reason that that someone that's never trained a dog, potentially some of these vets have never owned one. They own other animals, right? They own cats, whatever, is telling one of their puppy clients or their dog clients, that something their trainer is telling them is or isn't correct. That's not okay. So let's get that straight. Okay. And then as trainers, honestly, as trainers, as a training industry, we need to do a better job. And everybody says that. And I know we all say this, but there's a lot that we can be doing. I think one of the things is making sure, and I am going to speak now from a side, as a trainer that I am not prejudiced as far as methodologies or tools, right? But I think that we definitely need to stop having this fight about positive versus balanced and blah, 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 blah. I think we need to leave that fight, because it's not about that. It's about helping the dogs. And if you're very good at what you do, it doesn't matter what someone else is doing. And so then this goes out to the positive trainers that are out there that are good at what they do and might finger point at a balance trainer and vice versa. If you're both doing a great job, then do a great job, shut up and keep doing a great job. It's that simple. Okay. But all of this infighting, poor clients out there, they don't know who to believe or trust. And there isn't a right or wrong. The only right or wrong is that no dog should be abused. Period. Okay. But just because someone's a balanced trainer doesn't mean they're abusing a dog. And if you truly think that, then I don't think you're probably a very good positive only trainer either. So let's put that all together. All right. So, the other thing about trainers is this though, in our industry, right? We need to realize as an industry that social media is one of the worst things that could have ever happened. I see more wannabe expert trainers out there over the past 8 years than I think I ever have seen in my life. Everybody thinks they're an expert because they can look at YouTube videos or they can make some flashy YouTube videos, right? Unless you've trained a few thousand dogs and successfully helped clients with their dogs a few thousand cases, you are not an expert trainer. I'm sorry to say. You might have a really flashy call to heel. You might, do some beautiful tricks, but you are not a master trainer. I don't care what anyone says. You're not an expert. And some of the trainers out there that have programs out there that are telling graduates of their programs, congratulations, you are now in the top 10% of trainers in the world. Stop it. You don't have a corner on the market for educating trainers. You are not the be all end all. And you cannot say that with any honesty that someone that graduated from your program is the top 10% of trainers in the world. Because you don't know that individuals, you're seeing that individual for what, a few weeks, 20 sessions, and they see you in person for a few times. That's not bringing up a trainer and being able to say that this person is, at this echelon. You can say that you've mentored that trainer. You can say that they've achieved things in your program, but anybody that is in this industry that really cares knows that it takes time and work. It takes making mistakes and learning from them. Yes. Okay. And it takes stepping back up and trying again. So I think we put far too much value in, going to this course and going to that course and graduating from that 6-week school, right? Those things can help, but don't be running around thinking that you're an expert trainer after you've done that. And those that are billing their courses like that need to stop. Okay. And that's all I will say on that. So now, solutions? Yeah, I have solutions. Oh, by the way, going back to the industry thing. If you are a young trainer, if you are someone that is a dog enthusiast since you're becoming a trainer, my best advice to you is go and truly learn under somebody for 12 to 18 months. Not just somebody that has a good, solid reputation as a good trainer, a good human, a good teacher, right? Not the fly by night, big social media presence, woo-hoo-hoo. Get in your communities and find out who the good trainers are and go and learn from them, right? And spend 12 to 18 months learning from the same person before you go making a smorgasbord. You've got to have some type of foundation And then you can pick and choose and add other things into it. So that's my advice also on the trainer front. Now, what can we do? What solutions? I keep saying I have solutions. Yeah, I have solutions. Okay. I have had an excellent solution for rescues and shelters for probably about 8 months now. Okay. I have been blessed, right? I don't need to have any longer a brick and mortar business. I don't have an overhead. And I have built a very successful, very thorough set of online courses. I have offered some of the rescues that I know. I've said, look, I was like, you know what? Required training, if you're not already, and they're not, required training, sell this course. I just want 10%. The rest can go to the rescue. And guess what? If rescues because of the 503, blah, 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 can't sell it, then you know what? Send them to me. They can have a coupon code and I'll take 90% from that course sale and I'll ditch it back. Hey, I'll even do better than that. We'll take $50 off of the sale of the class. So they're going to pay $50 left. And then you get 90% of the balance and I'm just tossing 10% in. If you required that of every person adopting from you, you are going, and they start right away. And guess what? You have a way to track what they're learning. It's all set up. Guess what? You're going to see fewer returns. And you're going to be putting money into your rescue that you can use for veterinary bills, for whatever it is, right? So, if you're like, oh, well, we don't want to charge, guess what? Have them do it and then turn around and, a month after they complete their training, tell them a month after you complete your training, you get a certificate for $50, sent to your vet office. So then you're helping them with their veterinary care, right? There are so many solutions and options, but the rescues are either, and shelters are either too afraid to require it, or they're requiring it quite obviously from trainers that aren't very good. Or trainers that maybe are good and don't have the resources that other trainers have. Like, this is a great resource that I have to help people with. Same thing with breeders, man. My puppy course, breeders could sell it like that, right? They just hand off access to it when they sell their puppy, put it in the price of the puppy. You get 90%, I get 10%. You can take the sale price down. I just want 10%. There's so much to be done. And if you're thinking that, oh, well, these courses aren't all that if she's giving them, no, they are. But the fact that there's a self-paced component means that I don't have the manpower hours where I have to be present for everything. And if you're questioning the efficacy, and the success level of these courses, go check the Google reviews because they're incredible. No one's done anything like what these courses are, period. And are they a be all end all? No, but they're going to stabilize a lot of people and puppies and people and dogs in homes. And they're going to keep the problems to a minimum. And it's going to educate people. So then we're keeping the really difficult stuff from happening. We're keeping dogs in their homes, and people probably actually even realize that they enjoy training their dogs. So, those are my thoughts and solutions on this whole thing. It doesn't need to be what it is. I think we all need to look in the mirror and do a little soul searching. And if, for me, I'm doing it for the dogs, but that's just me. Wish everybody well. Have a great Friday night. Don't be too angry with me. Bye.